Let's move on to the first.
It is time.
The first ever Ask Luds Anything. Luds against the damn Discord, whatever you want to call it. We'll come up with some better rules and things once we do this, because I'm sure Luds will entertain us here. But let's just get right into it. We have some questions. I'll read them to you, Luds, and then you give us your answer. John, you want to pop the first question up? All right. Is that AJN rules?
Boy, if you can't read it, we're in trouble.
I can't read anything. If your cup-winning teams, 86 Canadiens and 99 Stars, were to face off in a 7-game series, who do you think would come out on top and why?
Oh, boy.
Glad to see you're taking this as seriously as this segment deserves.
I'm gonna say the 99 team. And the reason for that is I think we were fortunate in that first cup to get to where we got to. And it was because of one player, and that was Patrick Roy. And I think the 99 team was probably way more balanced. And I'm sure there's a lot of guys that aren't going to agree with me from that other club. But I we just had more bullets in the gun, and there were a lot more pieces in the right place with the 99 team.
I just realized that he has that bag on his head.
You didn't see
I didn't realize that at first.
He had holes for the eyes, nose, and mouth.
I thought, nope, he cut them out himself and everything.
I noticed that when he first wore it.
That's amazing. All right. Next
It took
question,
me a lot of
John.
work to get this done.
Next question.
All right, round 2.
All right. Ardell says, Luds, you're in a combat situation facing a mortal threat from an enemy or enemies, the proverbial foxhole. Which 2 or 3 former teammates would you want fighting by your side? Any current Dallas Stars player you'd want there?
So that's 2 questions.
2 questions.
Former teammates and any current Dallas Stars.
I'll take. Let's answer the last one first. Jamie Benn, any day of the week. Early on, Chris Nyland, Shane Churla, Billy Heward. Nux is just not all there. Great teammate. Took me under his wing when I first got to Montreal. Charles was my roommate, which, man, did they make a mistake there for a long, long time. That's one for the Capades thing.
We need Let's Capades about Chucky because.
Oh, and speaking of the Capades thing, my kids got involved in this. Kim got them going last night.
Uh-oh.
A different name for Capades. I'm not saying that the Capade deal isn't good, but there were a couple of good ones that came up. We can discuss later. We can put them up there, and maybe they can pick.
Put them in the Discord.
Billy Heward. I remember Huey. Billy Heward's got a book out, by the way, a great book. But Billy was the guy that knew that was his role and took it seriously, and had hands like jackhammers on both the sides of bricks. But Charles just could take anybody on. And again, he was a fan favorite, and he still is to this day in Dallas. And like I said, Chris Nyland was just you can Google Nux because I'm telling you, it'd be worth it watching some of his fights. And we've seen what Jamie Benn has been able to do in this era. And we've all seen Jamie take on some tough opponents, and you don't see him lose much. So Jamie Benn for me, most recent.
We have to do a Ludscapades about Churla because young Dallas Stars fans probably don't know that Mike Madonna wasn't the most popular Dallas Star when they first moved to Texas. Right. That it was Churla that got all the attention, and then obviously Madonna became the big face of the team.
It was the iconic commercial with Churla, right? Because he was the only one in town to film the commercial. I think it was like called the Ice War was coming. It's a commercial that they shot. And one thing I wanted to give Luds just because I quickly looked up the book that Billy Heward wrote while Luds brought it up. It's called The Purpose Worth Fighting For, and Cred Ludwig has the first review of it on the top there. But I have not read it yet, but
is there any profanity in Luddy's review?
No, but this is a serious thing. Like, it's a book about like the physical and mental toll that carried over from a career in battle like that. So I want to give Luds a quick second to plug that for Billy. I'll probably buy it myself after we finish this show because my quick looking at it made me want to go buy that book right now. So I want to give Luds a quick 15 seconds to plug that for Billy.
I'll tell you, Sean, it was what happened was Billy had called me up and said, Luds, listen, I want you to read the book for me. And I'd like to put it, I don't know what you call it, where you sign something or put your name on, quote. But I got to chapter 10 or 11. First off, I didn't read it. I'll be the first one to say that. I figured it out. No, hang on. It doesn't mean I didn't listen to it. But
I was going to say, somebody send you an audio copy?
No, I got that damn thing to where it you can put it on your screen and it'll read the words to you and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. My problem was when exactly, Sam, because that's what happened to me. It go right back to the beginning again. I get to like chapter 3 and it took me right back to chapter 1. I couldn't get it. Eventually, after about 3 months, I got through the whole thing, and I got to chapter, I think it was 9 or 10, and I was like, "What? Like this happened? I didn't know that happened." And again, I don't want to give too much of it away, but it really got in depth of the toll that it took on him, and so and there was a couple dark things that happened to Huey, and I was like, Huey, I had no idea. I mean, and he said nobody knew. And so now, he gets out there and he's trying to spread, the word of positivity, and you need help, reach out and get help. Because he was getting close to what I guess some people would think was the end of the line. And lucky for all of us that know Huey and such a good guy. Let me tell you one story about Huey, and I'll keep this short. So when Huey got here, he wanted a bike, wanted a Harley. And there was like, I think 7, 8 of us, 9 of us that had bikes, and we rode. And we were going to this one place after practice, but Huey didn't have a bike. And he goes, Luds, because when we traded for Billy, I went and picked him up at the airport. And never met him before in my life. I just picked him up at the airport, gave him a ride, introduced him kind of where we were. And so he wanted to get a bike, so he didn't have his bike. So he says, I'm going to follow you guys. He had a little red Vega or something like that. The dude doesn't fit in it, right? He's just a big man. And so we get to this place, and we all get off our bikes, and I'm like, well, where the hell is he? And I see he's parked in the back of the place. I'm like, Huey, let's go. I'm yelling at him because he just yells out, I'll be right there. He gets out of his car. He had put his bandana on, his biker gloves on, and his biker boots on. He came walking into the place like he was one of the bikers.
So look the part.
And from that day, when Hatch saw him and Churls, because it was all of us that we all had bikes, and so he just was instantly, and Maddie and everybody that was involved in it. But talk about the ultimate teammate. And I'll say one thing about all those guys in that question: they are the heartbeat of your team because they go to different lengths to protect their players and make sure they're the guys.
Ben is asking for a refresher on the name and author. If you want to plug that, Sean.
Was that 15 seconds? Did I go over the 15 seconds?
No, it was meaningful. It doesn't matter how long it was. Name of the book is Purpose Worth Fighting For, and it's by Billy Heward. And it's available on I found it on Amazon real quick. We'll drop it into the damn Discord channel too for anyone who wants to follow there and didn't read it. So we'll do that.
Perfect. Not easy to segue that to a silly one, but what do we have next?
Yeah, we'll have to ask him who he wants on from the podcast to fight for the death. All right, we have T-11. Does Luds still have his shin pads, and how much would he sell them for?
Oh boy, I do have them. They were put in a case, a plastic case in a frame. They are not good to look at, but that's exactly what I wore. And I will give you a little short story. I got a lot of short stories.
That's
but
why we're doing these.
I know. Sorry, I got a call. I got a letter from the NHL years ago and wondered if they could have the shin pads. And I didn't respond, got another letter, didn't respond, got a phone call then. And I don't remember the guy's name, but asked me, and I'm like, man, I don't, nothing of me belongs there. And I said, my kids want them and all this other kind of stuff. And then I got another phone call. So this is 4 times now. And I'm thinking, you guys can't even, you don't get it. And I said to the guy, dude, I said, listen, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. You can have the shin pads if you take me. I've never got a phone call. I've never got another letter, pigeons, nothing. So that is done. But so the long-winded answer, yes, I have it. Kim is kind of dead set on we're probably going to put them up in a little cabin that we have up north. I don't know if you really want to look at them, but I appreciate the question because they were through. I got those things used as a used pair of pads when I was a freshman at North Dakota, and I used them my whole career.
Your whole career. Yeah. They don't make them like that now because now they're made to be disposable. You used your shin pads for decades.
They didn't make them like that then. Like when they would break so many times, and if you guys remember that plaster Paris that you would kind of dip in water and then you had to put them on for a bruise and stuff like that. I told Smitty, our trainer at the time, I said, I'm not getting another pads. He goes, Luds. I said, I'm not getting another pads. We're gonna fix it. Because what happened is that the plastic would crack and I'd take my skates off and there'd be a bunch of blood down on my socks. Well, it was sticking in my shin. I didn't know it at the time. But anyway, so he would put that plastic on there and he'd rivet on there. The only problem is, and people think that they actually think that I parked a car on top of them to make them that wide. But what happened is when that stuff cools, it kept pulling the pads out. And that's how they got that big. And then after we beat Edmonton, I think the last time in the playoffs, Slats sent a letter. Glenn Sather sent a letter to the NHL that Bob Gainey gave to me that said there should be a rule for defenseman-sized pad. He didn't name me, but I don't know who else he could have been talking about.
All right,
Luds,
John.
Did you ever think about, because they didn't make blocked shots
Writing
an
a
official
book?
stat?
Yes, I did. I think about writing a book.
Yeah, but no, okay, book. But from a block shot perspective, have you ever thought about how many you had in your career? Because they didn't make it an official stat till after your career ended. Like, I see, like Mark. Yeah.
I've been asked that question. I said I wouldn't know. You know, I mean, I could ballpark at how many you thought you had per game, but that doesn't mean anything. I don't even know what the number is right now, Sean. What is there? Yeah. What is the average number for block shots for a year for a guy that is that
like a guy like so Mark Giordano holds the all-time record with 2,100 in his career. Like that's the all-time in his career. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know, but one thing I'll tell you is the wider that they got, the less it bothered me because I didn't have to move as far. I didn't have to get over in that shot lane and still got a little piece of them. And it's funny how the goalies, whether it was Patrick or Belfour, whoever I played for, they love you until one hits it and goes in the net. Then they just stand there and they look at you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what about the other 12 that didn't go in, that I saved your ass on, or Matty did, or Hatch did, or something like that? So it'd be interesting to know what the number was. But again, as you guys know, a different era too, because we didn't play against as many skilled guys, right? And so the guys that would come down and they're winding up to take a shot. So it was probably a little bit easier then. So, but anyways, it was just part of my MO, and it just kind of obviously it stuck with me because I get more pictures sent to me about those pads, and it's the shot of the ugly ones.
Hey, Luddy, there's never been a goalie in the history of the game that hasn't yelled at one of his teammates for trying to block a shot that ended up in the net. Not one.
Yeah,
and that's the truth, but it's just and again, it's not like we're doing it on purpose. Now, I will say this, and I'm not the only one. There have been times when you do things like that on purpose because you get one guy that whines a little bit too much about it. Trust me, there is a way to turn your stick a little bit just like this where you're not going where it's supposed to. And like, oh, how'd that feel? Oh, really? So.
All right, now we know next week that this segment needs to be 30 minutes or more.
Well, just start the segment. Yeah, we'll leave them wanting more.
Yeah, let's just ignore the wrap-up thing, though. We got Iceman with a 3 in there. Hey, Luds, how do I reset my router?
Ask your wife.
All right. One more. John, let's get one more. All right, Luds, this is a picture one for you. It says agree or disagree.
And for the audio listeners, it's a above the roll toilet paper roll and a below the roll. One says this is right, good, which is over. One says this is wrong, bad.
Wait, there's no question. It's got to be above because if it's the other way, it just keeps running onto the floor.
I am squarely on Luddy's side.
I agree.
You are a crazy person.
Yes.
Certifiable if you are an under.
Mama Nestler. Yes, she does that.
Do you guys
under the roll, and I just flip it or
you have the battle?
Just dip it in the water to mess her up or whatever I can do. But one more, John? All right, let's get one more.
Yep.
All right. Wow.
Jesus.
Oh yeah. This was so long ago.
I'll tell you something, Sam.
Don't do it, Luds.
I'm your welcome wagon, man. I'm your welcome when, So when I will introduce you to a couple bartenders, and then I'll have to put my question to you. Do you really want to be my friend?
Well, here's the question, Luds. I came to town and I didn't get picked up by you or driven by you on your Harley or any of that. So I wasn't welcomed as well as your teammates.
Don't threaten that. He will definitely take you for a ride.
I want to get on the back of that Harley.
Listen, that ain't happening. You aren't. You think you're gonna ride bits on the back of my
That would
bike?
be really cute with you on the
Come
back.
on, it's like this.
I think Sam needs his own segment here. I like to see some of the questions that are coming in because I know my first question I'm asking.
Oh boy. All right. Oh, and take it over. I'm done talking.
All right, that's the damn Discord for today. We'll do it again next Friday. Make sure you go on to, first you have to become a diehard, then you can get into the Discord. You can ask questions of Luds, Sam, Sean. I mean, really, it doesn't
rules.
have to just be Craig that gets all the questions. It could be any of us. Make sure you follow the show at DLS_stars on Twitter. Don't forget our main account, which is at DLS_sports. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Same with any of the audio, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcast, you name it.